Howdy. Haven't done a garden video in a while, and haven't done a video at all in a while. Hope this one works out. Uh, Little update on my cancer, still cancer free. Uh, I have another test coming up in a couple of weeks for my PSA. I feel good. I think it's going to be okay. Um, Still having some nerve pain issues and stuff. The incontinence is very low. I do have some leaks once in a while when I'm doing strenuous work and stuff. Trying to get back in shape, still trying to lose some weight. I gained a lot of weight during the pandemic and my recovery from the surgery. So my prostate surgery was in uh, the end of 2019, December, and so I'm at a year and a half since my surgery now, and you know I'm I'm trying to find a job. I'm not employed yet, and it's been difficult because I had a lot of lingering pain issues from the surgery, and my urologists weren't really paying uh, paying much attention to. They were just, "Are you glad to be alive?" I said, "Yeah, hell yeah, glad to be alive." Oh, then you know you got to deal with some stuff. So anyway, away from the whole prostate thing, I will say that it's pretty trying. It has been quite a road of recovery, and I'm finally getting the mindset and the will to get this fat off of me, and I've dropped about 10 pounds already, but I maxed out. My normal weight is about 170 pounds, and I'm usually a little thin. I usually fluctuate in that range, 170 to 175, and I've been at 200 for months, and even more. Like I was up to 211 at one point, which is really heavy for me. And it's just making a lot of pizzas and stuff. I'm surprised I didn't put a bunch of my pizza videos on YouTube because I got really good at making pizzas during the pandemic. We had a bunch of flour stored in our emergency supply, and I used it up making pizzas. I had yeast as well. A lot of people couldn't get yeast. I had blocks of it in a in a bucket all stored away. But yeah, that was interesting. So anyway, today I wanted to make a little gardening video. I've got this is the second year since I've changed my garden to Hugelkultur, which is basically logs buried under soil with a layer of thick mulch over top of that in a mound. So uh, I started that. I dug up the whole garden, and I did it with two long mounds of Hugelkultur style, and it's an ancient German form of farming that's been used for thousands of years, and it's a way to utilize uh, less space and get more stuff planted, and it seems to be working out pretty good. So last year I started out with corn and tomatoes and some greens. The greens didn't do well at all. I never really got any of the greens. They grew and just stayed really small. Um, the corn was fabulous. I got 23 ears of corn, and I had a bunch of tomatoes. I grew the tomatoes from, I had store-bought tomatoes, and they were like an heirloom type tomato, and they got big, but they had a hard time ripening. They stayed green a long time, and so I don't know. So this year I planted cherry tomatoes. I've had really good in the past with just the regular style garden. I've had really good cherry tomato success. I had some that were like 9, 10 feet climbing up the trellis. They were awesome. We were just getting huge batches of like grapes clusters off them. It was fabulous. So I'm hoping. I was a little behind on getting things planted. I live up on the north side of a mountain, and it I only get about 6, 7 hours tops of sunlight, and it's not all at once. you know, and then it equals up to probably about 8 hours of sunlight. But in the morning there's a couple hours, and then it's shaded for a couple hours, and then from mid morning until late afternoon there's sun on the garden, and then and late in the evening in the summer months get a little bit of cross sun from the sunset, and that is it. And so if it wasn't for the two big trees I took down right back there last spring, uh, we wouldn't even have that much. We'd have lost another couple hours there. So we gained a couple hours. So anyway, I got 23 ears of corn out of here. I'll show you my corn here in just a second that I have going here. It's a little over waist high, maybe a little higher than that. And I've got cherry tomatoes, and I've also got cauliflower. I don't know. I think the cauliflower might be doing the same thing that my greens did last year. So I'm not sure if it's a soil pH issue or something like that. But the corn seems to love it, and the tomatoes seem to do okay as long as I just started them late this year. I didn't get them started until June, and I usually plant them in like the end of April, and then put them in the ground uh, uh, the end of May. I didn't get these in the ground till probably the middle of June, so we'll see how it goes. So I've got, oh, I've also, my son is going into third grade. So last year in second grade, they all grew a bean plant. A lot of grade schooler kids do that. So he brought this bean plant home, and it is, I set up a trellis out of sticks and stuff, and it has just grown crazy big. So I got this string, and this is something that I made out of trash or grocery bags, you know, the plastic grocery bags you get. So I wove this string out of plastic grocery bags, and I'm going to use it in my garden. So reuse, reduce, recycle, man. Anyway, uh, let's take a look at what we got going. So yeah, this stuff, I got a whole big old, this, you know, I probably got about 40 bags on here, 50 bags probably of length, and I guess you get about, you get a pretty, you get, you know, probably about 2 feet per bag. Pretty good. So I'm going to use this to tie up there to help this bean plant. Check it out. Here's the bean stalk, and it's going up, trying to find some giants. And there's the corn. Tomatoes, still not that big. Got a few over here though. They're starting to get some flowers on them. Getting some flowers on them. So there'll be some cherry tomatoes coming soon. And the cauliflower, there's the cauliflower. The cauliflower not doing so great. They could be a little bigger. They look like basil, but they don't smell like it. I didn't know. I don't know if I got the wrong seeds or something. We'll see. And got the daylilies cranking them out, and our chives. Chives already flowered, dropping seeds everywhere. They're all out in my driveway too. And some more cauliflower, corn. It's just a little jungle now. But yeah, the corn is almost definitely waist high. And I plant dandelions in my garden, and you can tell these just got trimmed not too long ago. But these right here, I clip these, and I clip the leaves, and I make salads, or I do a stir fry with greens. With the greens, really good with these little buds. They're like crunchy little yummy and you saute them, they get all nice and creamy. Even these, we eat these guys. Very nutritious. Dandelion is a very nutritious plant, so I've incorporated it into my garden, and I trim them back and make salads and sautés with them. They're quite bitter, so sometimes if you give them a little bit of a boil real quick and then cool them off and then do a stir fry, it kind of takes a little bit of the bitterness out with a little baking soda in the water. But I've gotten used to the bitterness. It adds you get a nice, nice lettuce that's very kind of bland, and then you throw in a few dandelion leaves and some other things, and you got a nice spiced up salad. And so much vitamin A and antioxidants in that whole plant. The flower is just loaded with all kinds of wonderful things for your body. So good thing to incorporate into the garden. It also helps loosen the soils, and once in a while I will pull one out and plant something like a tomato plant where it was growing, and they always grow really good. Just the soil's all nice and softened up for them. But my soil's great from the logs decomposing under there. I think that's given a lot of nutrients. The corn sure seems to like it. So there's my little garden tour for today, and a little update on my prostate cancer journey. And I'm right at about 19 months since my surgery, and I recovered slower than some people and faster than others. So I would say, all in all, I'm really happy to be alive and breathing air, and super appreciative of all the support of family and friends that I've had over this time. And saw something fly by. And so, yeah, uh, get out in your garden. Oh, I didn't show my blueberry bushes. I've had these here for about, oh God, 7 or 8 years, more than that maybe. And they look really good and bushy this year, but man, they take a beating out here in the winter. And I'm probably only going to get a handful of blueberries off these bushes. It's really sad. Something, some kind of bug or some kind of disease or something that's been killing the tips in the spring, so they don't flower as much, and I don't know what's going on. So there's my blueberries. Only got a few. They're not blue yet. And the chipmunks and the birds will probably get them before I get them. I have this hoop on here, and I usually put a net over them, but there's just not even enough to worry about this year. Last year we had quite a few. It's perplexing. I think what I'm going to do is I've got a few different subspecies in here because it's good to cluster them together for cross-pollination and stuff. But the littler ones don't seem to have been producing anything the last couple of years, and the big ones only like 2 or 3 bushes in here. There's probably 12, and it's probably that they're overcrowded. So I'm gonna probably next spring or next summer dig out some of these. Heck, I might do it in the next month or so. I'm going to dig out some of these and maybe put them over here in the center of my strawberry patch, which was kind of an experiment last year, and they're wild strawberries, so they're tiny. But I did get a bunch of them this year, but it's not, it's kind of a waste of space. So I think I'm going to try to put some of the blueberries over there maybe, and see how it works. And I got asparagus. They get tiny. I just eat them when I'm out here in the garden. There's never enough to make a meal because they never come up all at once. There's 2, And a few days later, there's 3. And a few days later, there's a couple more. And it takes like 2 weeks for all of them to come up. So they're just like trail food out here in the yard. Well, that's it for the vegetable garden. Just waiting on my lilies over in the pot over there to come up. The azaleas are done. So are the peonies. And happy summer. And I'm glad to be alive.